Welcome to making the invisible visible, the very first step to solving our stress. I'm Donovan Dreyer with Get Ready Coaching, and what I mean by making the invisible visible is we're talking about stress here, something going on the inside. It's not like a scratch you get on your arm and you just get a Band-Aid or maybe get a couple stitches if you need it. We know the drill when it comes to physical stuff. But when it comes to stress, this internal thing, it's very important to get a good sense of what how we're feeling on the inside, to gain some self-awareness. I've created an indicator, a diagnostic, if you will, that allows you to figure out your stress level and then what to do about it. So if you're at a high level of stress, what to do, middle level, and so on. That's what we're going to cover today, how to make the invisible visible. So let's have a look.
When you're struggling with distance and disconnection with your teenager, and you don't want to keep pushing them further away, and you want to find a way to reconnect, it's important to begin by making the invisible visible. This is the indicator, the diagnostic that I've come up with that begins to find a solution and give you greater self-awareness, which provides the basis and empowers you for truly making choices instead of acting out of reactivity. And it allows you to be more responsive that way. And it reduces this passivity. We just get used to the conditions that we have in our lives, the overwhelm, the out of balance, the feeling frazzled and freaked out and just out of energy. And now this proactive action on stress really enhances your awareness. And I've got a simple tool so it can grow in your mind's eye and help you assess things on the fly in life. You don't have to go through a long battery of questions. It's just a really simple tool. And it gives you a sense of what level stress others are at as well. So you can start to gain an understanding of where other people are at with their stress. And then really determine the appropriate action of various stress levels, whether it's for yourself or you're looking out for your teenager. Where we're going next is we're going to talk about what this SOS is with a little analogy to help with that process. And we've talked about why it's important. We're going to break down how it's used, and an example that I've got from real life will help with that. I'll share with you how it came about, how I came across this way to turn an invisible aspect of life into a visual, and then we'll talk about the documents that you have downloaded if you got this video and PDF combination. If you got the PDF that came with this, then I recommend you turn this into a laminated tool that you can use. Typically, if I'm going to use this tool and somebody comes in my office, I got a whiteboard and I just quickly draw this up and have the green, yellow, and red section. And where we start is we draw basically a scale of 0 to 10. And then we've got a green, yellow, and red section. And there's a minimum and a maximum level when it comes to our stress, and these different stages or levels can be plotted over time as well. Our cars are outfitted with all kinds of gauges and indicators, and when they break down, a mechanic can hook up a computer and get a diagnostic reading and figure out what's going on. And when you break down, you can call upon a tow truck driver, or maybe if you've got all the parts and tools and the know-how, you can fix it yourself. Maybe you can call upon somebody to help you out. So I've got a tool that does the same thing. This SOS indicator, we're going to break it down and figure out how you can figure it out yourself sometimes and build that confidence and self-esteem. And at another level, you're going to call upon family and friends. And then there is a situation in life sometimes where you need to reach out to somebody that can give you some qualified professional help and literally help you rebuild your engine in life. You reduce your stress in life, and in other words, get back on with the business of living a powerful and profound experience in life. As I mentioned, we don't get gauges internally like we do for the cars we drive. To make the internal read easier for us on solving our stress, I like to use the analogy of RPM for a car. The green area is healthy stress. We're cruising along. It takes some amount of stress to be active in life, to get things done and reach our goals. Crossing this yellow line, we get up above where we can handle things on our own, but we're still in a normal range. You can still function, you may be starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed, but you can still make progress, just like your car is still cruising along. Not too much problem with this kind of gauge reading on the RPMs. When the stress keeps moving on up, we get to that pre-crisis stage, and then we cross this major red line. Just as you can't push your car for extended periods while redlining, the same's true in life. Temporary moments in the red zone are a concern, but extended periods, redlining in life, that's a crisis. So take note of the left-hand side of the SOS. If I have you add in your signs of stress and distress at these various levels, now you look over to the left and you see each individual can feel or even see the signs that indicate the stress levels, and now you have an option for figuring out what are your cues and signals that tell you you're stressed out. Alright, here we are with a real-life example. So I had a teenager come into my office, and we sat down for about 15-20 minutes working through an issue. And we started off by going to the whiteboard. So I drew this up on a whiteboard. I typically have just a blank space, and we just quickly whipped together the green, yellow, and red. Plotted out this first point here right on the red line, and this is where the student was immediately upon entering my office and trying to, address the situation. So then we went backward in time and started plotting out other places a couple days ago, a couple days before that, and before you know it, you got a little bit of a pattern here. And you could see the student came in after it started shooting back up. So it went up to a high level, up into the crisis stage, temporarily came back down, but as it headed right back up, this teen was ready to come in and get a little help and support. And then now, at the very end, I had the student replot and just tell me, hey, where are you at this point? Because we had worked things through. And this one goes straight down because it's the same day. After about 15-20 minutes, we had worked this through and tangibly got into a better spot on a visual. This is so powerful for professionals, parents, people working with teenagers and others, and just for yourself too, to know that you've gotten to a better spot and that you've reduced that stress. I mentioned earlier that I'd talk a little bit about the history of where this came from, and this indicator and diagnostic was created because a couple of times in my career I had students who nobody would have expected it, but they took their lives, and this is a way of me not having those kids die in vain. So we saw that the faces change and the energy goes down and the RPMs shoot up at the other indicators. But in this case, whether these students were at the healthy stress level, pre-crisis stage, or up in crisis, you couldn't tell. Visibly, there was just no signs that gave any kind of indication. And so this really got underneath my skin and really inspired me to get going on this creation. And I had a student come up with something brilliant for a situation like this. This is just not natural for a teenager to just be this happy all the time. And so we figured out a question. I asked the student, what could you do? How could you get a better read on this? And we both agreed that there's no reading it. This is a perfect mask. But when you ask the question, how are you doing? A lot of times just pass each other quickly in the hallways and they say fine and you say fine. But you can ask a second layer question. Take a chance and ask, how are you really doing? And that's something that can really open up the door to a conversation that can happen, an opportunity to connect. So that's where this came about. This is my inspired creation to make sure we can do a better job of handling stress and getting something done about it before it's too late. The next two slides show the worksheets that you can print out, and these blow up the left-hand side of the chart so you can brainstorm your cues and signals, as well as the people or resources that you turn to for each of the various levels, and for those protective and maintenance factors. It's a good idea to figure out what those things are for you in life. Alright, if you got the PDFs here and you're watching this video along with the PDFs, you can print them out and get them laminated, and you can also just use a whiteboard. I think a whiteboard works great. Thanks for learning how to make the invisible visible with me today. The first step in solving our stress, and you can take it a step further now. You can build this into your mind's eye. It's a simple tool. It's powerful though, and if you can start to practice it and gain this greater self-awareness and ability to assess yourself on the fly in life, on the go, and then knowing where to turn to address your stress at different levels. That's important too. So I've been doing this for 15 years, and you really are the X factor. You're the solution in the life of your teenager. And making yourself that type of role model that you think your teenager deserves is what it's really all about. So you've got this first step in place. I'm here, of course, as a coach that can help inspire you and be an accountability partner and help you build strong bonds if you'd like to take it a step further, if you'd like to build that team chemistry within your family. And I can be a coach on your team in this game of life. It takes a team to raise a teenager. And you can be that driving force, empowering your teenager to go out there into life as an adult and live a very meaningful life. Happy, safe, successful life where your teenager's out there making a positive difference in our society, making a contribution, and this is the very first step. I encourage you to come on over to the Get Ready Coaching contact page. Come on in here and let me know a couple of the burning questions that you have as a parent of a teen.
All right, so you've just gotten a better understanding of how to begin to solve stress. So if you want to take it a step further, and you've gotten a good self-assessment, and you're really feeling like, hey, you're a parent of a teenager, and you've got challenges around raising your teenager, that is my specialty. If you really want to take this a step further, I encourage you to get in touch. Let's set up a breakthrough session where we take one of your areas of stress, take one of these big challenges and have a breakthrough. That's the way these sessions are designed, so I encourage you to get in touch. Let's set one up today.